I think it's all right, but like to force me to like you have to do this or you have to talk, you have to associate with this person, you have like what I've always said is I think that is the biggest form of cuckoldry, is that a group of people on the internet telling you to do something that you're like beholden to them and that you can't have your own nuance and your own opinions. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, just it comes down to the fact that I think very few people have the courage, because this movement is very insular. It is very isolated. There is this effect of, like Beardson said, you go one step and then another step, and all of a sudden you're in quicksand, and you're being dragged to hell by all these people demanding that you say this and say that and all the rest. And I think people are genuinely, I don't think they have the courage to say that is not what we're about. There is a big difference between your ideology, what you believe, and your strategy, what you present. And I would be very wary. I would be extremely wary of the kinds of people who will tell you that to have a strategy, to have a tactic, to have tact in your language, to communicate effectively, if you do any of those things, you're a cuck. If you think about your message before you say it, if you refine your message, if you look like a normal person, if you appeal to normal people, and you're going to get defamed for that? You're going to get criticized for that? I'd be very wary of those kinds of people. And that's the kind of stuff that I get all day long. People call it now, they call it tactical optics cucking. It's called, no, we have a normal message. It's a reasonable message. We're the normal ones. If this message is communicated like other people communicate their message, like people pay millions of dollars to learn how to communicate their message effectively, we could get people on our side. And it's very disturbing to me that there's a strong contingent in the movement, which we know there's federal infiltrators. We know, because the feds do this. And if they do that, if there's a possibility, we know they're out there. And think about how they would behave. Would they be dragging us to a position where we are unemployable? We're ostracized from our social connections, ostracized from our community. They can't put us on television. They can't bring us into our political party. Or would they want us to look like Tucker Carlson? Would they want us to look like Ann Coulter? People who have millions of followers who, like Ann Coulter last week, she started tweeting some choice things about globalists. I'm sure she red-pilled more people with that tweet than people like Commander Heimbach have red-pilled in their entire life. And they have that power at the tip of their finger. She shoots off a tweet to her 2 million followers. She's made New York Times best-selling books. She gets on Fox News. She puts out one tweet, and you got millions of people hearing about it, talking about it. What did she mean by that? What is globalist? What did she mean by Jake Tapper is half globalist? Is that true? And that's the potential we have. But this lower quartile of people who have no skin in the game, they're going to hold us back, and I don't think they want us to progress. But we have to progress.
Right. And I think, I mean, bottom line, like what I would say from that, I agree with you, Nick. I mean, it's like, would you rather be...
That's fucking based.
Hey, thank you, Metal, for the donation here. He said, Nick, good speech, bro. I am inspired. Also, fuck Nazbol, faggot commies, go suck Soviet dick elsewhere. Anyways,
your optics aren't that good.
Hey, but
name better optics than Alexander Dugin. He's like a sweet old man.
Thank you, Metal.
Like a nice grandpa.
But real quick, I mean, I think Nick makes a great point here. It's like, would you rather be like Tucker Carlson or Matthew Heimbach? Like, I don't think
you want to eventually pull the Overton window in that.
No. There's no eventually. That's a serious question. Like, would you rather be Tucker Carlson, or would you rather be Matthew Heimbach? Honest question.
You don't want to end up on the Huck box.
Tucker Carlson all the way. And the point I was making with that is, if you are Tucker Carlson, you're able to get that outreach to more people, thereby moving the public Overton window more in the right direction.
He doesn't have a lot of freedom in what he says. He follows the script, which is different from this blonde chick that Nick was talking about.
Maybe Richard Spencer should start reading a script then.
Maybe there's a lot of people.
Maybe he is already.
Don't get me wrong. I do think there's an importance of having people that are, I don't consider I've never considered myself to be some thought leader or any leader of a movement. I'm just a fucking YouTuber. Yeah, I mean, I think there is some importance to people that maybe are a little more, not extreme in as far as like getting people to do dumb stuff, but like proposing new ideas that stretch the realm of possibility. Because we do have to admit, if we look at what we're talking about now, like ethno-states and different things, maybe you could call them silly, possibly, but we wouldn't be talking about this a year ago. Like the things we're able to talk about now are pretty remarkably different, and things have moved further to the right when you look at immigration and similar subjects. So I would say I think there is a place for people who do I want speech to be free. I want all the ideas to be able to get out there, and then I want to be able to look at those ideas and say, hey, this idea is really cool, and this idea at first I thought was the solution, or I thought it was cool, but I didn't understand it's going to cause this consequence, and therefore I'm not really on board with that idea. So I think like we need to be really nuanced with where we're going and all that, and we need to be willing to adapt and change, because this is a new thing. We had Obama in office for 8 years. We're not really used to having a conservative in the White House, and so it is very different for us, and there are a lot of different factions that supported Trump. Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, it's simply about communication. At the end of the day, it's about communication. We have these ideas, and we're trying to communicate them to the public. And when we look at the most effective communication that took place during the election, it was communication that was subtle. The language was choice. The language was funny. It was presented in a funny way. Think about how a lot of people got red-pilled. I didn't get red-pilled because some, obese guy in a black uniform and a Stellhelm was yelling in my face about the Jewish conspiracy. I got red-pilled because I saw,
Wait, that doesn't work on you, Nick? Come on.
Surprisingly, that getting spit on my face by some, and look, that may come across as classist, but this is simply the practical reality of the situation. The vast majority of the young people that are getting over to the right wing, that are susceptible to this message, they're people that are largely apolitical. The base of people that we should be appealing to, they're largely apolitical. We're talking about disaffected, disenchanted, young white men who are in college, and they're getting the shit kicked out of them because the media hates them, and women are, bitches to them. They're thoughts and tramps, and the college system is chewing them up and spitting them out. There's no jobs. And these kids are largely apolitical, but they understand what's going on. Intuitively, they lived it, they understand it, and you know what? They go on a website, like Twitter.com, or they go on YouTube, and they see something that's funny, something that catches their attention. And it's not overly political. It's not serious. It's not edgy. It's not bar charts and graphs, but it's something funny and something that rings true. And it's a little bit subversive, a little bit transgressive, edgy. And they start to snowball, and they learn more and more. And that's how we get them over. We don't get them over. And notice, too, people have come at me and say, Nick is still on Twitter. That means he's a cuck. Nick is still verified. That means he's a cuck. It's almost like there's this weird element to the movement that thinks you'd be better off with no audience, with no resources, with nobody to connect to, nobody to communicate with. Very weird how that works out, right?
But that's a minority. That's
people told me making
a very vocal minority.
People told me if you make money online, you're a shekel cuck. Like you just. Or you're a book merchant or something like. Obviously, there's some people that do some retarded things, but why do people look down on being successful and making money? I mean,
jealousy.
That's
it. It's jealousy.
Yeah, I was echoing on someone's feet. That's better. I think it's jealousy. Absolutely, it's like when your show starts to do well, when you start to make money. Who am I echoing on?
I hear an echo too.
Yes, someone. I don't know whose mic that is. But basically, when you start being successful, they say, "Oh wow, you're a shekel cuck. You're doing it all for the shekels and all." And it's like, so wait, you're telling me that the best thing we can do to save humanity is for me to be homeless, for me to live on the street? That's really based, guys. If I was just, absolutely living in a fucking gutter, then that would save the white race, right? That would save humanity. But once again, those types of people, I don't know if they're just psychotic. I don't know if they're.
No, they just
I don't know if it's
you're really committed in your ideals. Like, for example, people say that, Andy Worski, he was never alt-right. He's just like jumping on the money train because he figures he's get a lot of.
Andy Worski makes funny content, just like I do. We make funny content, and do we give people platforms like people on the alt-right? Yes, of course. We let anyone come on and speak.
But if anything, the alt-right should be thanking Andy Worski and yourself.
That's true.
But these people that go outside with Richard Spencer and everything, they're like saying, no, he's not ideally, like his ideals are not 100% committed because he's doing it for the money. I mean, I say that like I'm thankful because I think the internet blood sports are doing a lot better than all those autists going outside in real life. And so, because it's pulling in more people, like Nick Fuentes said, like all these kids that follow, like see these links in these cool accounts like internet blood sports. And it's growing so big. Like I think eventually, I don't know, Ryan Dawson might end up in Joe Rogan's show or something, or maybe one of you guys, maybe baked someday. I don't know. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the debate within the alt-right we're agreeing with Beardson so much because it doesn't matter that it's coming from his side of things. It's just, it's kind of true that you have this really bad
there's another dollar
misrepresentation. And the thing is, the biggest debate within the alt-right is strategy, and I think Nick could agree with that. But
the saddest words of tongue and pen, the saddest were these: Beardson was right again.
There's another dollar. See, I really didn't think the stream would go this way, but someone owes Beardson a lot of dollars. But I did disagree with Beardson.
I'll take feet pics too. I'll take feet pics.
All right.
Yeah.
I did disagree with you on a couple things, like we were talking before. I don't think it's fair to assume that anybody who calls them alt-right is like a neo-Nazi or something like that. I think that's sort of a leftist tactic.
That's never what I tried to imply. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of good people in the alt-right, and I think the best course of action right now would be to try to salvage those people and to let them know that they're being led down a wrong path. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a better way to be conducting business and to get your message out there, and it's not the way that people like Richard Spencer and Mike Enoch have been telling you for the past 2 years.
So
it's too late for an ethno state when 40% of your citizens are non-white. The alt-right will never be mainstream. Stopping immigration and being a Tucker Carlson is the most realistic solution to try and preserve American white culture.
That's cuck talk.
All right, so
here's a solution: stop listening to atheists and stop doing rallies. That's it.
True. Yep. Ban women from your movement. Ban women from your movement. Yep. It's such a bad idea.
Okay, so So Cassie said, too late for an ethno state when 40% of your citizens are non-white. Alt-right will never be mainstream. Being more like Tucker Carlson is the most realistic solution to preserve.
Cassie's a woman, so who gives a shit what she has to say?
Does that mean you just give up on your principles then?
No, of course not. Of course not. It means, and this is always what people say, it always means, you're going to sell out. You're a civic nationalist. You're a shekelcuck, like Baked Alaska says. And that's not true. It has nothing to do with that. There is a significant amount, there's a significant amount of area between autistically yelling with your beard and your helmet, your helmet fastened to your fat fucking head, and being a total cock, being a Cassie Dillon, Will Nardi, Ben Shapiro type. And we can go out there. I've done it. You can go out there and you can talk about the forces of ethnic nationalism.
I fucking hate Cassie Dillon, by the way. I fucking hate Cassie Dillon. There's not many people that I really hate, but she is one of them. She's a fucking cunt. She's
slime. But
do not talk shit about Cassie Dillon.
Point being, you can stay true to your principles, and I've done it. I went on the Andy Worski, I debated Halsey on the question of Jewish media influence, and you had people that were watching that. I mean, look, I have been able to convince normal people who I know, my friends, my family, not totally, but I've been able to turn them on to these ideas. And I go on the stream and you talk about it in a clear, for example, listen, and not even to toot my own horn, but even if you listen to a guy like Like Ryan Dawson, for example. Ryan Dawson. Did anybody watch Ryan Dawson on Warski? He went on there in a suit and a tie. And, you know, some of the conspiracy stuff was a little bit out there. I tend to agree with it. But he went out there, matter of fact, normal-looking guy. He had the straight facts, and he brought the heat on Israel. And anybody who's watching that says, wait a second. I did not know that. What's going on? There's something going on here that we weren't told. And they start thinking about Israel. And they start thinking about Israel. And they start really thinking about it. And that's all we need to do is give them a little push. And you could see it. All kinds of people are doing it. Tucker Carlson, if you've been watching him, very implicit stuff lately. Ann Coulter, the same. Pat Buchanan, it's essentially like if you read Pat Buchanan's column since Charlottesville, he's essentially just said, you know what, I'm nearing the end of the ride here. Now it's time to start telling the truth, because you read his articles and it's a blueprint for how we should tackle these things. It's historical, it's reasonable, it's common sense, it's in language that everybody understands. And we're not saying to cuck on the principle, we're not saying even to cuck on the language, we're just saying present it like a normal person. If we could make these viral, reasonable, fact-based clips like Ben Shapiro or like Milo Yiannopoulos or any one of these characters, we take a page out of their playbook, we copy their presentation, but with our ideology, and you've got a grand slam. Because
I don't know about Milo there, but maybe
not. Maybe
that's a little gay.
Maybe not the
disavow
the interracial, the degenerate stuff. But.